What's up, everyone? Yusuf here, and today is Juice Feast Day 3. And so we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. As you can already see, here's my assortment. I got the green apples, Granny Smith apples. I got about 10 pounds of carrots, so we're gonna be working with the carrots today. How many of y'all know what this is? Huh? This is Starfruit, one of my favorites. I have honeydew melon. Also, you can see the watermelon here. Let me show you a pineapple, pina. Yeah. Also have some fresh key lime that I'm gonna have fun playing around with, as well as grapes, and I got plenty of these. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Let's have some fun. Welcome to those who have joined on the Facebook Live. Please feel free to drop your questions. Again, this is I'm on day 3 of my 7-day juice feast. And I'll also say I've been kind of moving quietly. Every full moon, I do a juice feast. 7 days, it helps to stay on a schedule for me when I can plan in advance, know when a full moon's coming up, go ahead and set aside and prep for it, and I do a feast during that time frame. If you're interested and you want to learn more, I do have a Juice Feast community group. It's the Revitalizing Juice community group. Feel free to check it out in my bio or on my page. The goal for that group is really for juice enthusiasts, professionals, those who want to learn more, just to gather, to share ideas, recipes, and also just motivate each other. So if that calls out to you, feel free to check that out. But without further ado, I'm just gonna get into it. So right now I'm working with the green apples. I love to use tools to help make things efficient. This apple slicer is a must for me. I love apples, all variations. Well, my favorite ones are Granny Smith apples. I like to mix that with other green things, and it tends to be a nice tart taste. So I'm gonna mix some of that with the Starfruit and see how that goes. I also have some Fuji apples that I like to mix with ginger, and that's always a great taste as well. Let's see, I can throw a little bit more green apple in there. I'm gonna do one more, and then cut up some Starfruit. I also have some mint, cinnamon, and ginger on the table, along with some clove that I have not worked with as far as juicing, so I'm looking forward to experimenting with that. So this is a Starfruit, right? And when you cut it open, it looks like a star. Again, another tropical fruit, very delicious. I've heard people compare it to somewhat of a pear taste. I'm not really getting that. And you know what? It's not that easy for me to identify it as well, but I would say if anything, pear could be like a blend between a pear and an apple. So I'm gonna throw 2 of these in there. And let's start juicing this. Do need to plug it on. All right. So today I'll be working with my juicer, which is a Namawell J2, and I also have a Vitamix blender here in front of me. And there's specific reasons on why, right? I utilize a juice press bag, and I'm going to go and grab it. But essentially, when using a blender, it's great for pineapples. It's great for You can even add bananas in there, right? If you really want to blend and add different flavor combinations, the blender's been best along with a juice press bag to really get all the fiber out and the straight juice. So I'll be mixing some of the pineapples a little bit later. I'm gonna work with the easier things now because I actually have no juice. I do have coconut still, but no juice. And I wanna enjoy some of that. So I'm gonna start with the easy things first. All right. I put this squash on top of the juicer to make sure it keeps down. I tend to overpack it. It will push the top off. So I just put some squash on top and it seals it from moving or it keeps it in place. Ooh. Feel free if you're in the chat just to drop in. Let me know how you're doing. I actually have a pretty incredible story. Yesterday, while I was at the farmer's market here in Georgia, I obviously, these are the things that are in my cart. And so when people walk around, they see it, and if they're in the lifestyle or familiar with the lifestyle, for those of you who don't know, I've been raw foods, so fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, only no starches, no fungi like mushrooms. Um, yeah, I've been this way for a little over a year now. I think about a year and a month, maybe a little bit longer. I don't know. I'm not tracking it as closely anymore. But anywho, I was inside of the farmer's market and I ran to our brother who saw my cart and he asked me, "Are you electric?" And I said, "For sure." As you can tell from the items that are in my cart. And I mentioned that I've been this way for a year now. I went to Panama and trained with Dr. Eris Latham in 2023. And during that trip, I detoxed for about 10 days. I was on coconuts, having fresh pressed juice every single morning, having delicious raw nourishment that we prepared throughout the day. And for me, it was like a no-brainer. Just the way that I felt, not spending as much time processing foods in my gut, and then also just wanting to experiment with raw living foods. And so having the pleasure and luxury of doing that, it set the pathway for me to continue to move forward. So I already had a blender, I already had a juicer. I did not have a dehydrator or a food processor, so I made sure to order those two things before I got back. But for me, I was juicing well before last year, before going to Panama. I've had this down the well for about 3 years now. And so it's always been a pleasure and fun for me to juice. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in a vegetarian household. And so while I didn't have the science of raw foods and vegetarian and the insight behind it, I did at least come from that background. And so it's been helpful and easy for me to the transition, to continue to juice, to understand the impact of giving the system, your body time to rest. So I feel inspired. I'm going to add some key lime to it to give it a little pop. And no, I don't have any particular plan on what exactly I'm making. I'm just letting it into it and call out to me. Just cutting off the ends of this key lime. Add two more to it. Oh yeah, money shot. All right. So for me, I just cut the ends off. I probably could put the whole thing in there. In regards to the key lime, I have not tried that out yet. And I want to experiment with this Starfruit green apple. but I'll try. Probably do it by itself. I'm pretty sure Numberwell could extract it with ease, but I'm gonna give it some grace and take off most of it. Now you'll notice when I start with the melons, I do include the shell with it. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the chat. Feel free to drop in. Yeah, bring them on camera. Okay. But yes, welcome. Feel free to drop in where you're dropping in from, or calling in, or joining this Facebook Live from. Again, I'm doing a juice feasting. I'm on day 3 of 7. Pure juice, and I'm in the process of making it now. Right now, I have some Starfruit, green apple, and key lime that I've added to this blend. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and add this one to a mason jar. But you know I'm gonna have a sip as well. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah. Oh, it smells good. It smells so good. All right, I'm just gonna put this down right here for now. I'm gonna grab me a cup real quick. I'll be right back. All right, so now I'm gonna give this a try. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we're going, this is key lime. All right, so we're trying out the key lime, Starfruit, and Granny Smith apple. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. So this is definitely refreshing. Like key lime really sets it over the top. I love the blend of the Granny Smith apple along with the Starfruit. This feels like a morning wake you up drink, um, which is great because it's not the morning; it's a little over the afternoon, but a wonderful drink indeed. All right, very satisfied. I'm actually going to make more of this, so I'll go ahead and stick with it. Looking at what I have available with the green apples, I have 4 Starfruit left and plenty of limes. This should be enough to make a 64-ounce mason jar worth. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And what I'll do this time, since they'll all be going together. All right, what's up, Brian? Welcome, brother. Did you say no fungi? Yes, I did. I did. Uh, just based on what I'm trying now, I'm not using any mushrooms, or at least I haven't had any mushrooms for over a year. And really, what it comes down to, Brian, at least within the philosophy, the sunfire method that I've been undergoing for the last year, is I'm working with foods that grow with the sun, and or sunfire, or cooked by the sun, one would say. And so if you look at fungi and the conditions in which they grow under, they tend to grow in dark places, um, moist, whereas that's not what I'm working with now. And really, Brian, the goal for me is to experiment. I'm experiment with my body, see how it responds. I know when I was around month 3 of my juice feast, I used to have a pain. I thought it was minimal. Like it was a minimal pain to me, but it was minimal because I learned how to walk a certain way, right? It's like if I walk without twisting my hip this way, I won't feel the discomfort there. And I remember around month 3 of this raw foods lifestyle, I didn't feel that pain in my hip anymore. So I know that could be directly tied to starch in your body because the complex carbohydrates having trouble to break that down, and it causes stiffness in some of the joints. And so really it came from my own personal experimenting on my own body, living with this raw foods lifestyle. And so when I experienced no pain in my hip, I'm like, well, what else can I do? How far can I go with this? And what other things can I learn about myself? So yeah, I no longer consume fungi. And I'll tell you, that was one of the things I really was missing in like the first couple of months. Uh, and I found some great replacements. So for me, I would use soursop, and I can make a soursop fillet, and that can imitate a consistency of fish. Now, soursop is not as easy to come by in the U.S., but it is possible. And again, using a dehydrator, I can make similar consistencies to some of the mushroom dishes that I used to enjoy before. But now, again, using all the fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds that are out there, I actually have a lot more things that I can make because I never worked with this at this high level degree until a year and a month ago. So this is all brand new discovery. I actually enjoy this process of being in the kitchen or being in what I call the multi-purpose space to really explore and experiment with these different juice combinations, different food combinations, soaking nuts, making different like sushi rolls, and really having fun with it. Uh, and again, being only a year in, I have so much more I can learn and experiment with and really find out like what are my go-tos. I think I really got that down, but like what else can I make? What else can I explore? Uh, but yeah, going back to my story being at the farmer's market, right? The brother who asked me about if I was electric, and he's speaking to like alkaline foods. A lot of this can be found on like Dr. Sebi's alkaline foods list. And when a brother asked me and I answered yes, and I told him I was raw for a year, his face lit up. He was super excited and proud. And he gave me a hug. And I was like, you know what? It felt good to be in a farmer's market. People from all over the world go there. And to meet a brother who just moved here from Washington, D.C., which that's where I moved to Atlanta from 17 months ago now. And he moved here in November, and just having a pride and just being happy to see another brother who is living a similar lifestyle, and he just felt like called to give me a hug, and I'm like, yes, more of this, more hugs for men. Um, it's more hugs in general. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I was caught taken aback, but it was also like well received and a lot of gratitude. All right. So yeah, we keep these apples going. Thank you for the questions. If you have any more, Brian. Okay, Brian, what else you got? That makes total sense. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely, Brian. And feel free to ask any more questions. Again, this is what I'm doing just to explore with me and my body. Uh, I always say do what works best for you in your situation. I know for me, what's been great about living here in Atlanta is the access and proximity to local organic foods as well as foods that have been imported here that are also organic. So my coconuts that I get, they're from Mexico. Uh, and I'm grateful because they're not expensive. I've seen places to where you can get like a coconut for $5 each, and it like hurts my soul because I know if I'm in Panama, I know if I'm somewhere in the Caribbean, even in Thailand, anywhere it's like 30 cents, 50 cents, right? So it's like, why am I paying $5 for that? And so I won't. But fortunately, at the farmers market I go to, I can get 10 for $20. And so I'll grab a bag of those. And now the cool thing about it is that that's also my daily workout. So when I pick it up and throw it on my back and I'm carrying it, it's like, okay, well, who's also wants to carry a bag of 10 coconuts? And so I have no shame. I'll share with you. I get it from the Cat Farmers Market. If you want some, please go pick some up. Or if you can find coconuts or wherever you're at. But for me, the beautiful thing about coconuts is that if you look at like a water bottle, right? A coconut has never been opened until you open it. And so it's one could say hermetically sealed. And the first time it touches air is when you crack it open to consume it. And so all those electrolytes just fresh right into your body. And I've been having coconuts daily for over a year now. And oftentimes, if I'm in overseas, I'm having about 6, 7 coconuts a day. And that's because it's just one of my favorite. I actually haven't had H2O, so bottled water, since also for a year and about, well, however long I've been raw. It's also been a time I haven't drunk any H2O. And again, this all comes from my own self experiments. I get my water from the juices, right? From the structured water from the apples, right? From the starfruit, from the carrot, from the watermelon. I got some grapes up there. This is where I'm getting my water from, and it's from the fruit. Uh, what Dr. Edris Latham shares about H2O is that it's used as a dilution agent, and that made a lot of sense to me when he says, you add water to dilute any substance, right? And so, if I have, let's say, 100 ounces worth of liquid that I can hold in my body, do I want to include anything that dilutes that? And for me, it's become clear the answer is no. I can get, by juicing 5 pounds of apples and starfruit, so far I created this much juice, right? And so now if I have 5 pounds of apples and starfruit, and I'm putting straight juice in my body, that's all the nutrients, and here's the fiber, right? All the nutrients have been extracted from it. Now this is the remaining fiber that I'm going to not utilize for anything. This is all the nutrients that's going into my body. So this is 32 ounces here. Pure nutrients going in within 5 minutes. It disseminates into the bloodstream, and I'm not utilizing my stomach to process and break down. And so this is just pure energy in a bottle. And so I'm maximizing on what I'm putting in, and let it just be pure nutrients and no dilution agents. So that's what led to this experiment as well. And so again, I use coconuts daily, and I have my fruit juices daily. And so I'm using this juicer. I'm juicing probably about twice a week, early in the week and then mid part of the week. I haven't been freezing things only because I know that takes the life away, or when you cook it, it also removes the life away from it as well. So I have not had cooked foods for over a year, as well as, and I just recently started to freeze my sauces that I create, only because, I live here in Atlanta. I'm also an entrepreneur, a working professional, and I'm working with what I have. And so if I didn't freeze it, the juices or sauces that I would make would only last for about 4 days, 5 at the max. And it's just me right now. So if I'm not sharing it, then I'm like, it's wasting. And I'd rather just freeze it now just so I can continue to experiment. Yes, it will take away some of the nutrients, but I'm also working with what I got, and I know it's better than, for me, purchasing something store-bought, as I don't use salt. I use black salt, a mineral salt, pepper. A lot of the ingredients that I use, I like to know exactly what it is, or just make it myself. It's very fun for me. All right, so let me go ahead and get a 64-ounce mason jar. There we go. Yep. Dr. Sebi said no pineapple. Okay. Um, I'm not sure. I don't have the Dr. Sebi alkaline chart in front of me. I'm actually curious, Brian, if you know why he said no pineapple. Or if you have a moment and you want to research real quick and just say, to see the reason why we don't include pineapple. But pineapple is not a fruit. You can rip off, I can go ahead and just twist this, the top off, and I'll just do it. And I can put this part in the soil, and in about, I think it's like 6 months, another pineapple will grow from here. So it does not grow from seeds. But yeah, I don't know why pineapple is not, what you said is not included. So if you want to share a little bit more about that, definitely open and entertain it. But I love pineapples, and I've been grateful to come back to it, especially when I get into juicing it with the blender, and it creates, like one pineapple will create like 32 ounces of juice. And the taste is so rich, rich in antioxidants, good for skin health and your immune system. And so that's another thing I like to do is use foods as medicine. So here's a book that I've been working with, Healing Foods. And what I'll do, actually, Brian, let's see what we got here. Tropical fruits, pineapple. Let's see. So here, I like to just focus on what are the benefits for these fruits, right? And so what they say about pineapples, it's a good source of manganese, which can boost men's fertility and contains significant amounts of vitamin C. The core contains the proteolytic enzyme bromelain and powerful anti-inflammatory used to treat bowel and joint problems. Its inflammatory and astringent quality makes it a great choice for treating sore throats. So again, staying flexible, digesting, inflammatory bowel, and men's fertility. And so these are some of the uses for pineapples. And so this book has been helpful for me to be very intentional about what I'm putting in and literally using food as thy medicine and being intentional what I'm consuming with my body. All right, so I'm gonna get this last apple in here and keep on juicing. But great questions. Thank you for bringing this through, Brian. What else you got? His statement was that it's very modified, human generated, and very acidic. Destroys stomach lining. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of aspects of what's human generated, right? Even with some of the apples are, one could say, hybrids, right? So I like to think of one of my favorite apples, at least the taste of it, is a Honeycrisp apple. And that's, one could say, is human generated. It was spliced in a lab. I forgot the location of where that lab was at. Similar with some of the watermelons, right? You see seedless watermelons. And even bananas. Some bananas, a lot of them are hybrid as well. I don't know as far as like the acidic levels in pineapples. For me, I haven't experienced discomfort with it. And so I just don't have anything to go against it other than it's been helpful for me. But again, going back to like these hybrid fruits and vegetables, it all comes down to, again, I would rather work with a hybrid fruit or a hybrid vegetable than to consume something that's, one could say, out of alignment with my raw foods lifestyle. And at some of these places, you can't even find seeded fruits or even organic. So does that mean like I'm just like, all right, I can't find what I'm looking for and now I'm not gonna do it at all? It's like, no, here's where I'm at. This is the best I can do where I'm located. ideally, if I can move to somewhere more tropical or that has an abundance of this, I will. But this is where I'm at right now, so I'm going to work with what I have. With that said, though, I always go for best available. So if it's organic, seeded, starting there. If I can't find organic and it's seeded, that would be my next choice. And then if it's not there, I'll typically try to move or skip onto another fruit or vegetable. But if it's something that I'm looking for and is the only one available is GMO, then I'm just gonna work with that because I know for me that's still better than other options that are out there. So I just wanted to offer that. But yeah, thanks for bringing that through, Brian. That's great. And I'll also do a little bit more research as well to see what Dr. Sebi was saying. But I will also say I didn't follow his alkaline diet or his lifestyle. And also one thing for with Dr. Sebi, the great thing about him, he was always improving, right? As he learned more information, he kept updating his methodology and how he would move forward with utilizing these fruits and vegetables and alkaline foods. So, unfortunately, he's no longer here to continue to update us. But that's why it comes down for me. How this all started was my own personal choice to explore, like remove all the foods that I was eating and just start to mono juice, right? And as I juiced, see the response from my own personal body, and from there, let that be the guide on how I should move forward. So that's been working out great for me. All right, so we are almost done with these juice. And, key lime, come on, almost forgot the key lime. You need that pop. So, and still in front of me, I have, again, the pineapples, I have carrot, I have two different types of melons with a watermelon as well as a honeydew melon. And I have some red seeded grapes. I don't even know what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna fill into it. I'm gonna stick with the juicer before I move on. So I'll probably do the carrots last because that has a very distinct and different taste. But I'm doing pure carrot juice. That's what I'm feeling called for. Or not. I'll see. I'll see when I get there. Let me get 2 more key lime and then that should be good to go. All right. And what else do I want to work with? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to this watermelon. And I'm gonna add some key lime to the watermelon. Have been skipping on the watermelon and lime. All right, see what we got. Really appreciate your insight. I got to run. Hey, Brian, thank you, brother, for coming by. It was great to touch base, man. It's been probably about 5 years since 4 years since we've seen each other. So thank you for dropping in. Yeah, I would love to continue the conversation and engagement. You know how to check me out. I'm on here on Facebook. You can find me in the Revitalize and Juice community group on Facebook. The next Juice Feast will be taking place on the summer solstice. Yeah, that's happening next month. Going into my season. I'm a Cancer baby, so we'll be stopping into the summer solstice. And I'll be doing another 7-day juice feast there. So again, very happy to continue the conversation. I love juicing. I love my raw nourishment. So let's definitely drop in and have some fun. But all right, with that said, let me continue on with this. So I've now made 96 ounces of green apple, starfruit, and lime. Woo! That's my celebration. Woo! All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next. I got this juicy 99% watermelon. All right, so now that I've cleared out some of these containers, I don't need this anymore, so I'm gonna put this right here. All right, so watermelon, excuse me. I've seen many techniques of cutting a watermelon. Actually, let me clear out some of this so you guys can see what I'm working on. Makes a little bit more space here. All right. So I've seen and heard many ways on how to cut watermelons. The easiest way for me is to cut the ends off, and I use this large cleaver knife. You're gonna put some elbow grease in there, so go ahead and do that, and I just turn it a little bit like this so I can get that clean cut. And that's one end off, and I'll just throw it in here for now. Just look, check this out. This juicy, fresh watermelon, yeah. All right, and then from here, I make some blades. And so I just stack the blades on top. Some people I've seen cut the bottom of the watermelon so that way it stays flat from not rolling. I don't really have that issue because I use this large knife. So I don't have to worry about it rolling, but if rolling is a concern for you, you can slice a thin layer off the bottom, and that way it'll sit without moving. So now I'm going to flip it to the back, and then hi-ya. One thing I've also learned, it's important to have some form of a sharpener for your knives. It brings so much ease, y'all, when you can just cut and slice right through. And as I say that, because I'm reminding myself I need to sharpen my knives, but I'll use some of the strength. Oh, I love it. I get all the watermelon juices everywhere. This is great. All right. So again, I just keep cutting these blades. And so you notice I'm also, well, including the rind, right, and the shell. All this will be going right into my juicer. The Namawell can juice the rind, and the most important thing, that's where majority of the nutrients come from. So I don't just go for the red or the flesh, right? I want where all the nutrients lie, which is right in the rind and the shell here. So if your juicer can handle it, definitely make sure to get it in there. And if you need to, cut it in very small pieces, right? That is another trick. If your juicer doesn't break it down with ease, just cut into small pieces, and that should do the trick for most of it. Let me get some paper towels here to clean up a little bit of the mess. This juicy watermelon. Interestingly enough, y'all, watermelons was not something that I enjoyed growing up. I actually just started consuming watermelons, I would say, a year ago when I started this journey. Partly because I wanted to just change my relationship to it. But I recall before, I know when I first started juicing watermelons, that I would experience stomach discomfort. And so before becoming raw, I was a part of, not a part, but I was studying, researching the blood type diets, and what they would say for blood type O, which is what I am, is that melons will cause inflammation. And so I believed it. And after that, right, again, I went to Panama, been raw for a little while, and what I wanted to do is just discover, because again, watermelon is 99% water, and so how can I introduce more of the nutrients and structured water into my body and remove myself from H2O? And watermelons and coconuts are the number one and number two sources of this pure fruit water. And so I was like, well, I remember asking Dr. Aris Latham, they talk about blood type diets, and his response was like, birds have over 300 different types of got going on over here. Cool. All right, so I have my watermelon mountain. Oh, that balancing job is nice. All right. So now that with my watermelon mountain, I'm going to chop these up in blades so I can throw into the juicer. Okay, watermelon mountain did not work. So I'm going to give it some support with a plate. All right, here we go. And here we go. So now when, again, you cut the watermelon into frisbees, just like to cut it down into little strips and break it up across the middle. Oh yeah, I can look, y'all. I can already tell this is going to be a delicious watermelon. And so I got some cinnamon sticks over here and some fresh cloves. Well, not fresh, but some cloves as well. And I'm looking forward to trying that out. And I didn't clean out my juicer. I want some of the remains of the Starfruit, apple, and key lime, just to see what it tastes like. That's the cool thing about it, right? It's like, what is this new taste I'm going to have? It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm the one that's consuming it. I get to discover what does reminisce of my first juice plus watermelon. What does that taste like? And then by the time this first one flushes out, it'll be strictly watermelon. All right. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah, Brian, again, thank you for coming through, sharing your questions. I always appreciate those who are curious. Back in February, I did and this was during the spring equinox. I was planning on doing a 7-day juice feast, and that 7 days became 36 days. I actually ended my juice feast in Panama when I was celebrating my 11-month anniversary. I thought it was originally a year, but it was 11 months of being completely raw. So I went 36 days, and I documented the journey. And you know what? I think I'm going to do another long juice feast again, because I really, again, love how the mental fortitude, the discipline, as well as just the nourishing juices I get to have. And being that watermelon's back in season, and you're going to see how many ounces of watermelon that's created from this smaller watermelon that I had, because I also have this big boy right here. But you'll see how much it produces. So let me keep it moving. that juice pretty quickly. Let me go ahead and add some basil. I'm gonna add some basil. Actually, I'm just add the last of the basil. So I'm having, in this blend, it's gonna be basil, a cinnamon stick, and watermelon. Let's get it. Oh, the sun's starting to return. It was a full-on rainstorm about 45 minutes ago, and I was enjoying it. I have the door open on my balcony, just letting in that fresh, cleansing rain, and obviously not to the house, but the wind from the rain, just let it just flow through. Actually, I can go ahead and start this. Do you all have any tricks or secrets that you utilize to best cut watermelon? If you do, just feel free to drop it in the chat or let me know in the comments below. Because I'm always about optimizing and being more efficient, and I'm willing to get the tools that are necessary because, again, I use a Nama well because it's a great bulk press juicer, and for me, like the time, speed, and efficiency, cleanup of that process, I just choose not to invest and spend time with like the maintenance rather than just get as much juice consistency. Look at that. Yeah, I just want to get just straight juice, less cleanup, and I want it to happen quickly, right? So I'm going to use the tools, devices, appliances that best help assist with that. So if you have any ideas or things that you can see that, Yusuf, this might be easier, right? Please feel free to let me know. I'm always down for dropping the codes of life, and so feel free to share what you got. I'm gonna give me a little bit of this watermelon juice. Yeah, it's calling out to me. And while this is doing its thing, do a little bit more cleanup. I know what I'm doing next. I'm doing pure grape juice next. These grapes are over here sitting and waiting on me, and I'm gonna make sure I take care of them next. Uh-oh. All right, got a little bit of watermelon juice spilling. So I'm just gonna take care of this real quick. I'm telling y'all, they're juicy. They are juicy. That would have sucked. All right, get this in there. All right, y'all. Again, please feel free to drop your questions, any advice you have, any food or juicing tips and tricks, any recipes that you like. What are your favorite juicing combinations? Definitely feel free to drop all that in the chat. All right, cool. So I think I am at least good enough to go now. Let's take this off. Perfect. All right. Pour this into here. And for me. All right. So 64 ounces of basil, remnants of the key lime, starfruit, Granny Smith apple, and a little bit of cinnamon stick in there as well. So let's go ahead and try this out. Oh my goodness. See it? Yeah. This is delicious. Um, yeah, I'm definitely going to add key lime to this next because I'm looking for more of this pop that's in it. But just by itself, wow. Mm, 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 mm. All right, let's keep it going. All right, what we got next? So I'm gonna go with some key lime and watermelon in this blend. And again, the thing I really love about juicing watermelon is the amount of juice that it produces, right? Um, when I do a juice feast, watermelon is always a great aid and support because again, I think I paid for this particular watermelon, the smaller one, I paid $8 for it. And you're about to see how much juice this produces. Because some other things that I purchased, and I'll use an example as apples. I grab a box of Fuji apples, and while that would generate, obviously by having a box, lots of juice, I never did a full box at once, so I couldn't tell you how much it would generate. But again, you just saw me do these 5 pounds of apples. So yeah, total 6 pounds of apples, and I got me 96 ounces while including 8 star fruit and some key lime. So working with a box of apples, I could probably generate maybe 500 to 700. And we're back. All right, I'm back. Thank you for your patience, y'all. Let's get right back to it. So thank you, chat. Again, feel free to continue to drop any questions. I'm gonna just keep working on this juicing, on this wonderful juicy watermelon. It is so good. I'm gonna try clove in this one. I haven't did any work with the clove yet. you all worked with clove in your juices before? If so, what did you mix it with? I'm living the high life. All right, so another thing I've learned about juicing, right? As you can see, I have a lot of fruits and vegetables in front of me. Uh, this is a ceremony. It takes time. It's not just a 5 minute whip it up process. But by doing the prep in advance, it does prepare me for my upcoming week. So how I've learned how this works for me is usually I'll spend one day is when I go to grab all the produce or all the fruits and vegetables that I'll be working with. And by the time I travel, grocery shop, bring it back to the house, clean it, and store it, I'm tired. And so I'll usually juice on the next day, and then that just sets me up for the next 3 to 5 days, and then I'll have enough just to juice again later in the week, right? So that's typically my strategy, so I don't wear myself out. Uh, but it works definitely great for me. I do. Folks who can do it all in one day, it's like, man, more power to you. But I like to have rest and not try to overwork myself, because then it becomes less desirable for me. And this is my lifestyle, so I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm just going to find ways to make it work best for me. How about you guys? What do you like to do? Do you tend to try to do it all in one day? I mean, I know you have to work on based on your schedule and how things align. And so if I have to do it, I will definitely create something. But I won't do a mash juicing like this. I'll just juice a watermelon or some apples. Let's say I have something or enough to just to get me by that day. But I'm not overdoing it. I'm done pressing myself in that way, unless I need to. So I'm gonna go and drop another cinnamon stick in here, and let's try some of this clove. Ooh, I'm curious, and these are like sticks. Here's what it looks like. All right, that's enough. I have no idea what this is going to do actually, but I'll let you know in a second. And keep on chopping up, cutting wood, cutting pineapple, cutting watermelon, cutting carrots, cutting grapes, cutting key lime. Got it all here. definitely did something in there. I'm gonna add this and I'm gonna try a little bit of this out. All right, so right now I have the clove with cinnamon stick and watermelon in this current blend. As I fill this up, I'm going to test it out. All right, let's see how this is. Ooh, I definitely smell this clove in here. Let's try it out. Interesting. I'm not sure if clove. And I mean, not that it's just a different taste. What I'm gonna do is now being called for me to add some key lime to it because that was the pop that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna get some key lime over here. Let some more of this out. The clove definitely is the overwhelming taste. I like it. Just I want to try it now with clove and key lime. All right, clove and key lime. I'm gonna get some key lime upcoming. All right, get this filled up, and then I'll cut up some key lime. All right. Let me do a quick wipe down, because last time I made a little mess. So what I'm gonna do actually is take this to my sink, so I'll be right back. Yeah, I wanna keep wasting, utilizing paper towels when I don't need to. All right, I'm back. All right, y'all. As always, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Hope you all are doing well on this holiday weekend, Memorial Day. Actually, I'm not even sure what holiday weekend is it, and I'll tell you guys. I do, because it doesn't really, I mean, it does apply, but I'm not operating on that schedule per se, because not much shifts for me. Working on my brand, my business, We Society. We are the ones who've been waiting for. I got my We Bloom shirt, grow where you're planted. No matter where you're at in life, you get to choose how you nurture the seeds, water the plants, and how the growth takes place. So I'll be heading to the storefront after I finish up from here. But the beautiful thing is, I'm more focused on like that schedule, the timing schedule, who's going to be in town, and what events are taking place. So that way, just make sure the inventory is good, and we have the proper workforce. Any pop-ups or any community engagement activities. So I've been working mostly on that type of schedule as opposed to, oh, there's a holiday, I get the day off. I'm fortunate to be able in a space and place to where, I love what I do. My lifestyle, this wellness lifestyle, is also what I do as a service to others. And so being able to provide tips and wellness by just living my own life. For those of you who don't know, my mother drank coffee for over half of her life. And so this is 50 plus years of consuming coffee. And she's been watching my journey of being raw, juice feasting, doing this for, at the time it was 10 months or 9 months. And based on just seeing how I showed up every day, not pushing it on anyone, it's more of, here's what I'm doing and this is how it's serving me. She can witness the growth, not only in me physically, but just felt called and inspired to start her own journey. So on December 30th of last year, 2023, I was down in Florida with my family, my mother and father, and she went to her kitchen and threw out so much things. We had 5 large trash bags full of like sweet and low, coffee creamer, different coffee blends. And anyone who knows my mom, this is huge. One term that could be used to describe is overly prepared. One could also call it a hoarder, but overly prepared is like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I have enough of what I need. And and we threw out a lot of like boxed foods as well, like starches, like prepared meals, and created space to utilize her juicer. And we juiced for the first time together as well that day. And my mom's been rocking it, juicing weekly. She's now going to a community center, a senior community center, doing different forms of fitness classes. One of them is Zumba. She was doing yoga and just raving how well her body's moving and how other people are complimenting her. And so these are just, again, the small victories in my life that are reflections on me showing up for myself. And by doing that, allowing it to encourage, provide insight to others. And nothing here is forced. I'm doing what works best for me, and I always encourage others to do the same for themselves. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, what's up? Pasha, man. Wow. Brother, where are you at, man? Where are you at? Are you still in Thailand? I hope you're doing well, brother. Much love, man. It's been a minute. I miss you. I love you. And one of these days, for real, I want to get out and train with you when the schedule finds some alignment. But we're in the thick of it right now. But yeah, brother, if you feel called to, I would definitely love for you to share how you've been doing. Right now, I'm on day 3 of 7 of my juice feast. And right now I'm just making some watermelon, mixing it with some key lime and cinnamon. But yeah, Pasha and I, we go back to 2020. Um, we met. Oh, I met him in California in Jacumba or Hukumba, which is a desert about 90 minutes east of San Diego. And he was leading a physical pillar and taught me really about bringing the body into alignment. So I was walking around off balance, like this, but not. I'm being extravagant. And he taught me the aspect of, in order to balance yourself, you don't just come back to zero. You need to go to like -2 or +2, however you want to define it. And also by holding the stress and tension in the body and how it shows up. So even your posture and your stance, right? How can you bring yourself into alignment? And that's a similar concept that I brought to my juice feasting and nourishment is how can I bring my body into alignment? And it all starts with my own personal and self-discovery. So that's where I'm at right now. Again, been doing this for a year now. Fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds only, and enjoying the process as I get to learn more about myself, clearing out a lot of the waste that's been present within me. And again, this has all been an exploration, using my body as a test subject, and really just seeing how do I feel. I shared earlier that when I started this detox in Panama last year, I could just feel the shift in the electricity in my body. And it's really hard to describe it. I mean, people ask, like, how do you feel? It's like, do you feel more clear? I'll just start off with this. My, my stomach not having to undergo the process of breaking down foods, right? That's has allowed more space and capacity for me to use the mental space. Uh, Stomach is your second brain, and when it's breaking down foods for me, I will feel some fatigue or a fog, and I don't experience that, especially when I'm juicing, because there's really nothing to break down. Here are all the fibers from the watermelon. Like this is what one could say like the trash now, and this is just the straight nutrients. So I'm putting in the straight nutrients into my body and eliminating the waste. And so within 5 minutes, this is absorbed into my bloodstream. So I've enjoyed the process of exploring that, letting the excess waste or fat or whatever it is, removed from my body and really working on just the fresh nourishment. So that's what's been going on with me. Let me put this one in a smaller one. So this is a 32-ounce mason jar. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in here. Functional patterns. All right, what we got next? All right, I'm gonna get some more key lime for this one. We live in the high. All right, another exciting thing I want to share with you all. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, November of 2022, and that's when we opened up our storefront and Ponce City Market, which is a shopping mall here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's also the second highest trafficked location in the state of Georgia. You know what the first one is? It might be hard to, it's actually pretty easy, but it might be hard to guess. The first or the highest trafficked location, it might even be in the world, y'all, is Atlanta's airport. And so we're number two. And the cool thing is, a lot of the people that travel through Atlanta or Georgia, once they fly in, either their first place or one of the last places before they leave to go back to wherever they travel from is stopping at Ponce City Market. So we get a good influx of domestic and international travel, and you know, when they come by and they see we, it's always cool just to witness the connection and then speak to the individuals who just feel called and inspired to walk in. And so that's a lot of my customer data and knowledge comes from those experiences, as well as like I really enjoy it, right? A lot of these people come from all parts of the world. And for those of you who know, I've traveled to over 65 countries. And so I always get the chance to like to share and reflect on my own personal experiences from traveling. And just a reminder of just how beautiful and how rich the world is, and a reminder just to get out and explore. Step outside of your comfort zone. That's how I've learned a lot, and that's what helped assist me on this journey, because I watched so many ways of doing a similar practice, such as preparing meals, making nourishment, that I now get to take in what works, what resonates with me, what doesn't, and just leave that behind. And because I've seen it, I've touched it, I've smelled it, I've experienced it, I now know. It's not something I need to like attribute to a book. And while the book's great, like it gives me the insight and knowledge, like, but have you tried it? Have you touched it? Have you experienced it? And I can say yes to all that. So it's been extremely helpful on my quest and journey by traveling, and to bring it back home. So being here in Georgia is my returning home on my hero's quest. I was born in Winter Park, Florida, and so I'm just one state above, and I get to share all the information and knowledge that I've learned throughout all my travels, the connections and people that I've met, and it's just been a beautiful blessing. If you hear like a fountain in the background, I have a tower garden that looks marvelous. I'm probably going to show you guys maybe during this recording towards the end so you can see. But right now I'm growing some kale, some fresh basil, mint. I have some peppers, there's tomatoes. That's all I see. I might have a couple other things in there, but it's really coming alive. There's so much green in the house right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh. I was not paying attention and my watermelon juice began to spill or overflow. So I'm going to take care of that. Give me 1 second. I got deep into the storytelling, y'all, and let this overflow. It's all right. Nothing but an easy cleanup. In my old place, I used to live, I've lived in 11 different locations since in my first 16 months in Atlanta. I mentioned I moved from Washington, D.C., and I never planned on living here in Atlanta. So I thought I was actually moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. But on the day I discovered I was not moving to Atlanta, was the day that we opened our storefront here in Ponce City Market. And so, with that said, like I was never planning. Like I had my things going to storage. Everything was just set up. My move was set up to be in North Carolina. And so, with that said, I had to find out what home felt like for me. And that was a lot of different Airbnbs. Slept on my business partner's couch for several months, um, which was a huge swing for me. I went from like a sleep number bed to sleeping on the couch. And that's what the journey and the process of being in business was for me. I'm grateful not to be on a couch right now. My back thanks me for sure. Uh, so, but yeah, I never planned. So now I found this place in October. So I was here for roughly 11 months before finding the place that I've been in now for the last, 7 months? So it's been great to not have to move around as much. Definitely as a Cancer, the home space is important. And so I'm grateful to have found my home, my current home in residence, that I'm definitely am a nomad at heart. And that would be the Capricorn in me. But yeah, it's been great to make this a home for myself. Uh, and like get things out of storage and like every time I go to the storage room, actually it feels like I don't know, someone like shopping, and I'm discovering like the tools and like just different clothing items and aspects of myself that have just been put away for a while. So it always feels like I'm going shopping. Yeah, like shopping in the department store. Like, oh wow, I forgot I had this. Oh yeah, great, I have 4 fans, and I need all of them. It's warming up down here, so I don't gotta go and buy new fans, and then I can just go put my heaters away. When I had my home in DC, it was a 4-bedroom home, or yeah, a 4-story house. So it's like I had a lot of things to fill that bad boy up. And so being able to just have it in storage, have access to what I need, and grab it with ease is great. Along with that, another thing I wanted to add is that I'm going camping for the first time because all that stuff was in storage as well. I went and grabbed all my camping gear, or some of it, so I can go camping tomorrow. And I'm super excited about that, y'all. Super excited about camping. It's been over, I think, about 2 years now since I've utilized the equipment. And I was going camping somewhat frequently, going to different national parks in DC or the DMV area, or even throughout my travels, just going to different national parks and camping out overnight. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. And now, instead of using like a propane tank to prepare foods, I can use my cooler just to pack all the juices that I'm making. And I'm still going to keep my juice feast going. That's why this is the prep day. So let me go ahead and keep this. All right. So let me So this is gonna make a mess, y'all. All right. All right, I think I'm back, y'all. Thank you for your patience. keep it going. All right, I have a little bit more watermelon to go. The two ends actually. And I'm gonna add some key lime to this. Because the clove is still a little bit overpowering. And so we're gonna add some key lime to balance it out. All right, chat. This watermelon juice has ran through me. I'm gonna use the restroom and I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. So, as I was sharing, I am now transitioning over to one of my favorites, red seeded grapes. So as you can see what I have here, these have been already cleaned by just rinsing them off. And I'm going straight mono grapes. And as I was sharing earlier, I don't find many other variations of grapes that are not, or that are seeded. Most of them are seedless. And so again, my priority is to go organic, seeded, and when I can find it, that's always the best. If it's not in stock, then I go for what's best available. But for me, with grapes, I just go for seeded, and if it's not seeded, then I leave it alone. And that's primarily just due to, like, I have other options out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just load this up and get ready to enjoy some. Actually, with that said, I can just go ahead and throw this underneath my juicer, so that way I could just cap it and go. Do that. So grapes are very easy. So if you're looking for something quick, the quick and easy things to juice for me are watermelons, because it's the quick juice pulp. I mean, the amount of juice content that you get from it. Juice pulp. What am I saying? Grapes are super easy, just rinse and throw them in. Apples, I believe, are super easy as well and generates a good amount of juice. So here, I'll go ahead and throw that in there and let it go. You see I have a ton of carrots in front of me. Still have those pineapples that I'm about to work on soon. And I have a honeydew melon. And now let's just watch it come out. Boom. Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and show you all this. So this is the beautiful color that the grape juice produces, the red seeded grape juice. All right. Okay. Yeah, some more in there. And we're going to see how much this generates. This is about 3 bags, but you know what, grapes, they're never all the same size or quantity. They measure by weight. And I didn't capture the weight. I threw that receipt away quickly. Only because I was just taking out the trash. Here's some of the pulp or extract from the grapes. While that's going, I'm probably gonna start cutting up these carrots. These carrots are what I'm going to be juicing next, and with that, I'm also going to grab a strainer because carrots produce a lot of the pulp, and when I'm pouring it in, I'm trying to get the least amount of fiber as possible, so I'm working with just pure fruit and vegetable juice. Oh yeah, this looks so good. All right, the first batch is almost ready. All right, here we go. This is some red grape juice. It's ready to go, and now I'm gonna get my second one. Living high life. Let's get it. So, all right. Let's keep it moving. All right, now we can move on to cutting up these carrots. Yeah, so I'm gonna do the honeydew and this last watermelon at another time. And now I'm going to just do these carrots, and that'll be the last use of the juicer. Or should I use the blender? I'm gonna save my energy because when I start squeezing and using this juice press bag, I'm using it for the pineapple. I'm gonna pour my ashe into that. So with that said, let's go ahead and work on these carrots. So I have 10 pounds of carrots here, and we're gonna see how much juice this generates. So with carrots, I like to cut these into small pieces. The smaller, the better. Um, it just makes it easier for the nama well to break it down. And less times to have to clean up, which I would prefer. I could probably cut these down a little smaller, so I'm gonna do that. So also, just so you know, a motion that I like to use when I am using a knife or my cleaver or whatever, right, is to cut the board. So what that looks like, and that ensures cutting the board ensures that it goes through. So for me, it's right very with ease, getting through the board, and that way I can just loop, loop. Sometimes before I used to try to hack at it and realize I was just using a lot of energy and not getting a nice precise cut. And if there's any dullness in a blade, that was also a challenge. So cutting the board has been something that's been helpful. I'm glad I peeked over because that grape juice is complete. And there's a little bit more grape in there, which is great because I'm gonna add it to my glass. So here we go. This is 64 ounces of grape right here. I'll put it to this. So here's our grape juice, and while that's still going, let me go ahead and get some of that real quick. Yeah, I've been waiting on this grape juice, yo. Once I grab the bags, I'm like, I'm gonna give me some of that. Oh, so good. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Pure grape juice, no dilution. I love it. It's always a treat for me. Okay. Off balance on the weight. keep getting more remains. Oh, I love it. Yep, keep storing up. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of that grape juice. What? What happened to my life? Hold on. All right, what's up, y'all? I'm back. I went ahead and cut up all the carrots so you didn't have to watch me spend time cutting them all up. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As you can see, a full carrot display there. Again, this is now a total of 10 pounds of organic carrots that I've cut up. And I think I'm gonna mono juice this because I didn't bring anything to make carrots with. But we'll see, we'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and load this up. Probably be easier to do it this way. All right, so let's see how it goes. And with that taking place, I'll go ahead and share a little bit about carrots. All right, roots, vegetable, page 83, carrots. All right, so the benefits of carrots are hinted in their name. They are rich in beta-carotene, from which the body makes vitamin A. A diet high in carotenes is associated with significant decreases in the incidence of some cancers. Carrots also aid in digestion, help in weight control, contain silicon, which benefits skin and nails, and promote eye health due to their beta-carotene, lycopene, and lutein content. So what are carrots good for? They're good for weight control, cholesterol fighting, skin condition, and clearly the vision. All right, so this is what I am looking for as far as the benefits of carrots. And like I mentioned, I'm doing pure carrot juice, so I'm looking for all the medicine and nutrients that are coming from it. And yeah, I'm gonna consume that. So what I love about this is just how rich and orange. Let me slide this out the way so y'all can see a little bit. Put this over here. And that's just that rich orangeness coming from the carrot. We should have pulp too. I'm gonna let it do its thing. But just look how rich and orange this is. Matter of fact, I need to grab a couple of more large mason jars. I'll be right back. Oh no, I actually have one right here. So we're gonna see about how much juice we can create from this. But right now, here's all the pulp that has come out thus far. Again, I know a lot of people use the carrot pulp for many things, especially carrot tuna. I definitely can see as you add like celery, onion, or however you choose to make it, right? Because you're adding back more nutrients when you add those whole foods to it. But right now, this is, all the nutrients are in here. And so this by itself, not much, not any nutrients because it's all been extracted. But you know, you go what feels good for you. I have not made carrot tuna, and I will at some point, but I'll just use the carrot without stripping it from its nutrients. So with that said, let me go ahead and continue to add to this. My carrot tower right here. The root vegetables, carrots. Let's improve this eyesight. We have what we need right here, and the fruits and vegetables giving us life, healing my body. No dilution agents, just straight carrots. All right, round two. Ooh, look how rich this looks. I love it. All right, and then we're going to get on next. So we're going to let the carrots continue to run its course. As you can see, it's essentially all prepared. What I'm going to switch to next is the pineapples. Grab a juice press bag, and we're going to work on the blender next. So I'm going to show you how I utilize it. I could also use these pineapples in the enamel well. However, from my experience right over this past year, it doesn't do the best job of juicing it. A lot of remains get caught up in the drain and extract system, or they record it becomes very slushy-like. And ultimately, I end up having to clean it out, and I'm wasting a lot of juice. So I've learned by using a blender and a juice press bag, you can maximize the amount of juice from there. And I have 3 pineapples right here and 3 more that are off stream, and that's going to generate me about 196 ounces of juice. So I want all that. So we're going to use the juice press bag as well as a blender. All right, letting this keep going. Just look how rich. Wow. Give it to me. All right, so I'm gonna let this keep going, and when I fill this up, we're gonna move on to the next, all right? All right, and I'm back. So, as you remember, there was a huge platter of chopped up carrots. I had a total of 10 pounds, and here's all the juice that came from it. Oh. So 10 pounds of juice created 10 pounds of carrots created 10 ounces. What's going on, y'all? 10 pounds of carrots created 64 ounces of pure carrot juice. Wow. And this little bit I'm going to enjoy for myself. There was a ton of pulp. I ended up throwing away because I'm not utilizing it. So here we go.